As most of you know, Andrew Tate was arrested last week in Romania on allegations of human trafficking. The official reports say that he was meeting women, making promises of love and romance, but then bringing them to places where he would film them, they would perform acts on camera or something to that effect. I don't know if these allegations are true. I don't know a whole lot about Andrew Tate. I know that they tried banning him from basically every single platform, and then he came back to Twitter after Elon Musk took over. I know they're making a lot of claims against him. I've seen some video clips, admittedly out of context, where he's talking about how he has women doing webcam shows and he gets paid to do it. He gets a cut or something to that effect. I don't know if that's actually what it is he is doing because these clips are all out of context. And I will tell you, right now the left is saying that Andrew Tate is an alleged human trafficker or something like that. Maybe the case. But I will tell you this. From my position, seeing all of this news, seeing all of these stories, my attitude is doubt. And don't get me wrong. I've heard him say on camera that he had women who loved him, and because they loved him, they did these performances and they made a lot of money for him. Maybe. I don't know the circumstances around what the conversation is. Those clips are out of context, but it very well may be that he's doing this. I'm not saying he didn't. Again, I don't know. What I can say is when you look at a lot of prominent individuals, notably when you look at Julian Assange, they try using this stuff to take someone down. So here's what I see. Andrew Tate has very viral videos talking about masculinity and talking about not being a loser. I'm very impressed by some of the videos that he's had. Don't know anything about the rest of his character. I've only seen a handful of his videos. In one, he says, whether or not I'm happy is irrelevant. If I wake up happy, if I wake up unhappy, I have to do the same thing. And I'm like, man, he nailed it. He really, really did. That's a good point. I would say that I typically wake up happy 90 some odd % of the time. And then I get to work. I start reading the news. But there are some days where I'm tired. I'm exhausted. There's some administrative problem. And I'll be unhappy, but I will do the same thing no matter what. And I respect that message. Here's another viral video where he talks about how men are worthless at a young age. Society rejects them, tells, no women want them. And then when they get older, all of a sudden they have societal value. Women start with societal value. He says, God and L'Oreal give it to you. And then when women get older, they start to lose it, but then demand men not exploit their value. He says no to that. Okay. Well, I don't agree on the idea of him saying he won't be monogamous because of it. But the idea, in that sense, he is correct. Like his opinion on the outcome of how you should behave, I can't speak to that. And then he's got another viral video. It's like basically an ad for his network where he says, you got to work hard. Rocket ship going to the moon, unstop halfway, chill out, and then get back to it. No, it never stops. It burns as hard as it can, as bright as it can. I see those and I'm like, those are powerful messages. I don't know exactly why they tried banning him from every single platform. Maybe it's because they said he was a misogynist. But what we do know for sure right now is that a trans activist is spreading lies and the left just believes it all. I wonder if the issue is that they believe it. I wonder if the issue is more so that they know it's a lie, but they're all just so twisted and evil that they lie. I'm reminded of that video of, I think it was Jack Posobiec. He gets punched on the streets of, I think it was D.C., and the police actually watch it happen. The cops walk over afterwards and then say, what happened? And a fat Antifa person goes, I didn't see anything. Smirking. I didn't see anything. Nothing happened. What are you talking about? It's like, okay, that person knows it actually happened. They're just lying because they're evil. And that's what I have to wonder about this. Jessie Single tweets, because she is very on Twitter and has Harvard in her bio, Caraballo is seen by journalists with no subject matter expertise as a serious voice on anti-disinformation and counter-extremism stuff. She spreads disinformation all the time, like seemingly every new viral lefty rumor. Well, there's an important distinction here as it pertains to pronouns. Alejandra Caraballo, my understanding, is a male, is a biological male. Here we have this tweet from Alejandra Caraballo. It says, Roman authorities needed proof that Andrew Tate was in the country, so they reportedly used his social media posts. His ridiculous video yesterday featured a pizza from a Romanian pizza chain, Jerry's Pizza, confirming he was in the country. This is absolutely epic. This is outright made up. And when I first saw this, I was in Savannah, Georgia, by the way, when the news comes out, and I'm like, what's going on? And I was like, what? Law enforcement doesn't work this way. They didn't need proof he was in the country to go after him. His name would be on a flight manifest. His name, they could put a flag on his name. He's entering into Romania from Dubai or the Emirates or wherever he is. When he enters in and they scan his passport, they would know where he was. This is an insane lie. A lie they are still running with today. Why? Alondra says, not only did Greta Thunberg destroy Andrew Tate with her tweet, she made him so angry he inadvertently tipped off Romanian authorities of his presence in Romania with his lame comeback video. Greta is an absolute legend, and that's the point. They're evil. They are evil people. They are lying to manipulate you so they can gain power. They want you to think Greta Thunberg did something. She didn't. It was probably people running her account. They want you to believe, like Greta probably didn't even post the initial tweet. Andrew Tate did a response video for E-Drama. The pizza thing had nothing to do with it. Even Snopes, false. They say a popular tweet pushed the rumor. Ramona Bola, a spokesperson for Romania's anti-organized crime agency, Tate, said the rumor was funny but not true. Yeah, it was just made up. Caraballo just literally made it up. Single continues. Caraballo helped spread the rumor that the Club Q shooting had a connection to anti-LGBTQ rhetoric, a still unproven claim, of course. Same deal with the power station attacks, which remain unsolved. And there's a lot of them, by the way. Someone's going around attacking power substations. Authorities are still seeking a motive. Caraballo gets viral attention by suggesting some of the attacks had to do with Drag Queen Story Hour. I kid you not. Absolutely just made up everything. Well, there you go. Now, I don't know exactly what's going to happen with Andrew Tate, but I think it's important to point out that that story was false. And if that story is false, what else is false? Now, there's a viral Twitter video that's going around, not from leftists, still out of context, that has Andrew Tate saying a lot of things that sound like crimes. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a prosecutor. I don't know. But like I mentioned, he's talking about how he's got women who love him, so he has them do webcam shows, and they make a ton of money doing it. He has women who don't love him, who work for him doing this. And I'm like, yo, that's digital pimping. It's interesting, right? OnlyFans, where, like, you know, look, you can use OnlyFans for whatever you want. You could use OnlyFans to post, I don't know, art. OnlyFans is like mostly just used by women who are doing porn subscription services, digital prostitution. Now, I get it's different. You know, porn is different from prostitution, but this is the modern era. Women are taking images of themselves and they're selling them to men who want them. There you go. Guys want them. They want to look at it. This guy, Andrew Tate, assuming all this is true, is basically running, you know, his version of it. Now, look, you can call it porn with all due respect. It's just online porn, and he's a guy who owns a porn company. Then it is what it is. It's a modern porn company. But I have to wonder about the laws in Romania. If he's telling these women they'll be in a relationship with him, that's the accusation. Then he brings them out to some other country and then says, okay, now you're going to do these things. Hey, man, that's very much like trafficking. But there's a fine line. It's very difficult. If we're going to be in the sex-positive future where women have their own agency and can make their own choices, then what do you call this? A guy has a network and he says, I'll help you get set up on OnlyFans, but I get a cut? If they're exploiting women and tricking them, do you call it human trafficking? If you do, in some of these circumstances, you're taking away the agency from individual women who want to be sex workers. So that's the challenge. If a pimp is involved, like, serious question. If a pimp is involved in prostitution, is that trafficking? I'm asking legitimately because I'm wondering where the left stands on this. Does the left believe that women can make their own choices to do sex work? Or is someone working with them or helping them do it in any way trafficking. And I mean that literally. I'm not trying to be cute. I'm not trying to say that Andrew Tate is helping any women. No. I'm saying, like, if there's a woman who wants to do OnlyFans and any guy says, let me set that up for you, but I want to cut, is that trafficking? I'm not saying that's what Andrew Tate's accused of doing or what he did do. I don't know. The accusation is that he manipulated women into doing this. This is where it gets into really interesting territory, because I posted this tweet. It triggered all the left. I said, if sex work is work, then can a boss mandate his female employees service him, sexually? And the left lost their mind. They're like, no, consent. And I'm like, wait, hold on. That is consent. Like, my point is this. The left argues that sex work is work. Okay, it's clearly not, because it has laws around it. I should say sex work is sex work. It's a distinction, because there are laws around it for obvious reasons. If the left then says, no, a boss can't, they do not feel that it is work. Some try making arguments that sex work would be outside the purview of the job, and I disagree. Here's my point. If you're a lawyer and you have a garbage at your desk, some offices might be like, let's say you're an associate or something. They're like, hey, you got to empty that garbage. Like, not every place does this. Some might have a janitor come by and do it for you. But you might have to actually just lift it up, tie the knot, and then carry it and drop it in a bag. That might be on you. But wait a minute, I'm not a janitor. Boss can't make me do that. Hey, look, general tidiness is a component of the job, and the job description says you will maintain a clean working environment. So then my question was, can a job say something like, you will be let's say you're a nurse. You're a nurse, you'll provide these duties, and you'll provide sexual relief to your boss, because sex work is work. And they could do the same with men, too. I'm not saying just women. This is the point. Sex work is not just work. And that's why this story ends up becoming something more than just a guy hiring women to run a business. That's why he is being accused of human trafficking, because sex work is not just work. Because if people are being manipulated into doing it and they don't want to, it's not the same as being manipulated into carrying a bunch of bricks back and forth. Like, imagine a woman said to a guy, I really want to date you. Let's go on a date. And then had him move her furniture for her. Hey, come over. I got to move some stuff, but we can hang out at my place afterwards. Has the guy lift heavy boxes. No, she's not going to jail for that. Is it exploiting him? Is it manipulating him? Sure. But there's a big difference between moving furniture and sex work. Ergo, sex work is not work. Sex work is, specifically, sex work. One thing. Apparently, Andrew Tate has a $700,000 Romanian warehouse he turned into a hideout. I don't know if hideout is the right word. It's like so insane. It's like guy buys a building. Look, he's being held for 30 days, apparently. I'm not a fan of the things he's being accused of doing. I'm not a fan of the things that he said he's done. I don't watch his content. I don't know much about him, to be completely honest. I want to wait and see how this plays out to see if this is legitimate, false, or I don't know. Now, we know the left likes to play the game of guilty until proven innocent. I don't. Some people I won't give the benefit of the doubt to. Some people I will. Some people I'll just play down the middle. Like, there might be some people and they say they committed a crime. I'm like, I don't believe it. Like, let's see what happens. There are some people that they'll say, didn't do it, and I'll be like, I think they did. But, innocent until proven guilty. And then you have the story of Andrew Tate, and I'm like, I don't know if he did or didn't. The accusations have been made. I'd like to see some evidence. What I will say is the reason I have some doubt is because they try banning this guy. They try shutting him down. Next thing we know, this happens. Look, he's not the same as Julian Assange. I'm not trying to compare the work that Andrew Tate does to the work that Julian Assange does. Julian Assange is one of the greatest journalists of our generation, if not the. And that's literally what he is. And they've destroyed his life. 10 years locked up, just pure torture. They make up lies about him. They claim that he some very serious crimes. Not true. They dropped the investigation. No longer relevant. Now it's espionage. So I have to wonder. The one thing I noticed with stories like Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson is that people who propose, I don't know what you'd call it, but very serious masculinity, they get targeted heavily. Jordan Peterson tells young men, you've got to pick up the heaviest thing you can find, carry it. Men are order, women are chaos, or whatever it is he says. enforced monogamy, and the left goes after him hard. But Jordan Peterson's not an aggressive guy, so there's not really much to go after this. Andrew Tate is as aggressive as they come, making videos where he's yelling, where he's very critical, where he's very, I don't know, patriarchal, I guess might be the word. It's probably not the right word, but something like that. And they come after him hard. They try to ban him on every single platform. And then Twitter brings him back. But when I see that and I see this story and I see Alejandro Caraballo lying, I'm like, okay, hold on there a minute. Out of context clips. You've got lies in the media being espoused by all these news outlets, falsely accusing, or I should say falsely claiming Andrew Tate got caught because of a pizza or something. It's not true. Now they're walking it back. Oh, it's not true. I don't know how much I believe it. Now look at this. The New York Post calls it a hideout. Yo, a hideout? Tate's Cars is listed on Google Maps. Andrew Tate's Gym on Google Maps. Top G Podcast on Google Maps. Hustlers University on Google Maps. Bro, and they call it a hideout. You see what the media does? Even the New York Post. He's got a chessboard, whatever. So look, I don't know a lot about this guy. All right? I know they lied a lot about him. We will see. I suppose. We'll see how this comes out. They say prosecutors have alleged both brothers are suspects in a reportedly organized crime ring that sexually exploited at least 6 women who were allegedly recruited, housed, and forced into performing pornographic videos for sale online. Well, sex work clearly isn't work. The backyard with a water feature. Now, I will say this. If you fly to a country, talk some dude into flying into your country, and then make them do hard labor, yeah, you're trafficking them. So sex work or not, that's true. The question is, were these women brought here and not told they would do this and then made to do it? Because that is sex trafficking, period. I've heard these stories, man. So I want to see the evidence. I absolutely do. Let's see what happens. But you hear stories like this all the time. Young woman is promised, like, come hang out, be a model. They get there and it's porn. And then they're like, what do I do? And they're like, you can leave. And they're like, but if I leave, I'm in the middle of a city with no money, nowhere to sleep, no way home. And they're like, okay, well, your choice. But it's not really. You bring someone. It's like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Dennis talks about how he likes to bring women on boats and go out into the ocean because they can't say no because of the implication. And they're like, the implication? He's like, yeah. And they're like, what implication? Yeah. The joke in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the implication was that that he'd throw him off the boat. So they had no choice. You can call it a choice, but if you put people in these situations, it's not a choice. They say officers recovered various weapons during the raid, including several guns, a knuckle duster, a hatchet, and swords of varying lengths, in addition to stacks of money. Andrew's rise to fame started in 2016 when he appeared in the UK reality TV show Big Brother. 7 days in, he was booted from the show after a video surfaced of him whipping and beating a girlfriend for looking at other men. A second video emerged of him telling women to count the bruises he inflicted on her. He has said that if a man in a relationship has sex with someone else, it's not cheating, it's exercise. Then claimed that if the female partner even talks to a dude, it's cheating. Andrew's views led to numerous online bans starting in 2017, when at the height of accusations against Harvey Weinstein, he was suspended by Twitter for saying that women should bear responsibility for being assaulted or raped. Regarding his wealth, he said that he made his first million when he was 27. Then I had $100 million by the time I was 31, he told Aiden Ross in a streaming interview earlier this year. I became a trillionaire quite recently, the world's first trillionaire, he claimed, even suggesting he had compiled more than 3 times the bank of Elon Musk at the latter's richest. I don't believe it. Sorry. So we'll see. But I don't believe it. I heard him say he was a billionaire. A trillionaire now? I don't know if I believe that he's a trillionaire. I don't know how that's possible. And if he was a trillionaire, he certainly would not be getting arrested in this way. His estimated net worth is around $350 million, but those estimated net worths, they're always wrong. You know, they don't take into account a lot. I was talking to someone recently, and they were mentioning the kind of person who flies on private jets has a net worth on average of around $25 million. That's interesting, isn't it? $25 million, he says, the average net worth of somebody flying on one of these planes. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to have. But a $25 million net worth doesn't mean cash, and it doesn't mean income. Someone with $25 million, let's put it this way. Let's say you bought a bunch of Tesla stock, and then it became worth a lot of money, and now you're worth $25 million. You could sell the stock, then have the cash. Let's say you receive shares in a company like Facebook. They say, if you paint our walls, we'll give you X amount of shares. You say, okay. At a certain point, you're like, this company's making millions of dollars. My net worth is probably $100 million, but you can't do anything with the stock. You got to wait till you find a way to sell it, go public, so you have a high net worth. So you're not really flying. The real question is income. So here's what I think Tate's doing. He's looking at the value of all of his businesses in terms of income and then extrapolating what that's worth. The way probably the best way to describe it is you look at a gold mine and you can say there's an estimated, $1 billion worth of gold in that mine and you own it. What's the value of that mine? Well, the gold in it's $1 billion, but excavating and extracting and mining all that gold is going to take a lot of energy. By the time you get it out, you're going to have to put in, $10-20 million. You might get out, say $1 billion or whatever. So the total value is minus liabilities. You might be looking at a mine worth $900 million. But what if the product being produced is abstract? Like Timcast, for instance. We do really well. We make a good amount of money. But there's no gold to count. So the actual value of the business on paper is relatively low. But we do generate a lot of income. That's the interesting question about whether or not Andrew Tate really is a trillionaire. If he is, I'm assuming it would be because dude probably makes 100, or I don't know, maybe like $50 million a month or some ridiculous number. And then you might be like, so what? He's making half a billion per year. I don't know if that's true, but it's not completely impossible. I think, look at this. The Daily Wire has 1 million paying subscribers, I think, with an average of like $10 a month. They make they're making like $10 million a month in subscription revenue. And then they got ad revenue. I bet they're going to pull in $200 million this year. All right. They got to pay salaries. They got to buy stuff. What's the value of the company? It's an interesting question. Typically, the valuation will be calculated by what you own, minus liabilities, right? But that doesn't account for the money that's going to be coming in. So if you're talking about the true value of something, I'll put it this way. If I was going to buy a gold mine off you and I said, I'll give you $1 million for it, you'd be like, why? I can just have someone come and extract the money. The money comes out for free. Well, let's say it's a fountain that spits out a gold nugget. You'd be like, why sell it? I get a gold nugget every month. You'd have to pay me more than I generate in revenue. Long story short, you could probably argue he's a trillionaire, and I'll tell you why. Vice got investment a long time ago. And it was like $70 million, and it gave them $1 billion valuation or something. Then they got more investment. Their valuation went to like $2.2 billion. What does that even mean? Somebody invested in a company. You can't do anything with that money. So they just say it's worth $2 billion because of an equity sold. Okay, I'll tell you how you do it. You want to be a trillionaire? Here's what we'll do. Hypothetically speaking, start a company, sell 1% of that company for $10 billion. 1% of the company, $10 billion. There you go. Then, well, you're still not a trillionaire just yet, but you're just shy of a trillionaire. So how about this? Say 1% of the company, 15 billion. We'll do 15 billion. There you go. Then with 99% of the company, you're a trillionaire. Someone would have to give you the $1 billion for the 1%, technically. Or what you can do is you can sell stock at $1.5 trillion valuation and then sell 0.0000001%. It's not real. A lot of this stuff's fake. It's always fake. But it makes for a good selling point. So if you were trying to start, a university of hustlers to convince people they too can break from the matrix and make money, that's one way to do it. I will say lastly, though, again, I don't know enough about this guy. I'm not going to pretend he's a nice guy. I'm not going to pretend he's a good guy. I don't know. I've talked to him a couple DMs. Obviously we wanted to have him on the show to talk about what he's doing in his life and suspension and stuff like that. But he's a busy guy. So that was the extent of it. He may be a really bad dude. They may be lying about him. It may be, as he describes it, a matrix attack to freeze his money. I guess we'll see. I'll leave it there. Next segment is coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.